Well, that was a movie, and this was mostly wrong. Hey y'all, it's me, Alyssa. I also go by Lyss or Alsira. If you are new here, welcome. If you're a subscriber or a lurker, welcome back. I hope your holidays went well. I would consider this video as a part 3 to my Sonic 3 trailer predictions. This time is more of a review in comparison to my predictions. Additionally, I will also be doing predictions for the Sonic 4 movie, which will be coming out in 2027. There will be spoilers. Depending on which day in January this video will be uploaded, by that time most countries will see the movie, but some won't see it until the end of January. Yes, I know, long wait. But we are patient, right? Not to mention that the digital streaming version of this movie will be on January 21st. Like I said, there will be spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, get out. Before we move on, I do have a few ideas for the new year in regards to this channel. One of them is a live stream. If it is showing right now, you'll see me, yes me, showcasing myself and part of my room. I'm new when it comes to live streams, so I'll put out a test stream to see how it works. If it's an empty room, I'll still do it. I'll let you know when that happens. You're probably wondering why I made this video so much later than the movie's release in my country, which was December 20th. The thing was, the holidays were just a hectic time. I didn't want to record and draw during such a tight schedule, and I want to relax a bit, you know. Anyways, I'll start with my review of the movie, and I'll continue to my predictions from the previous videos. I'll link them down below, as well as the film theory I use, which is Sid Fuel's 3-act structure. Before I get into the spoilers, let me give a very small review on the movie itself. Masterpiece. One of the best movies released in 2024. So worth the wait. High school me would be in tears if you saw this right now. I'm in tears. So it's pretty much close to what I predicted, just a few things moved around. We start off on Prison Island in Tokyo Bay with a new character intro, and it's Shadow. Gunn has been monitoring him for 50 years. Something I'll get back to later on. And he doesn't seem to be waking. Oh, what is this? Somebody's heart is beating. During his stasis, Shadow has been dreaming about his moments with Maria, especially during their final moments together. I can't imagine being in this position for 50 years, and I had childhood trauma. Anyways, Shadow wakes up, beats up every gun soldier ready to take him down. And the attacks are similar to the Shadow Hedgehog game intros, but I'll get more into that later on. Shadow breaks out of the prison and airshields away on water. Intro credits! We are back in the ordinary world we know, Sonic's world. The Woodland Trio are having a race, and Sonic is his cocky self. He believes he will win this. What? How did. Oh! They're holograms. So where are. Oh my god, it's Sonic's B. Arthur Day. It's his anniversary of when Sonic entered Earth and was adopted by Tom and Maddie. Sonic finds his original cave, and Tom follows him. Here, Sonic reminisces about his first year on Earth, and Tom tells him that he will do the right thing and listen to his heart, not his lungs. Here is where the film minor in me falls in love, the editing. The way it blends one scene's dialogue with the next scene. Normally I'll be irked if it happens so many times, but this was done so well. This also gets to a certain film technique that I will explain later on. I love it. We segue to Shadow on a rainy night in Tokyo. Very John Wick, very neo-noir. I love how no one really pays attention to the fact that there's an alien hedgehog roaming the streets until he's almost run over and surrounded by Gunn. He unleashes chaos, and we are thrown back to Green Hills, where our Woodland Trio are recruited by Director Rockwell. She doesn't seem to trust him too well. I love the banter of whose team is it. That will play a big role later on. We travel to Tokyo, and Team Sonic's up against Shadow, and Shadow takes them down. Sonic, determined as ever, will not let this hedgehog go and chases him. Very John Wick. And Shadow the Hedgehog. And it's not just because Keanu Reeves voices him. Thank you so much, by the way. You did a fantastic job. Back to the scene comparisons. To be honest, I was expecting Sonic to say, "I'll make you eat those words." But you know, that would be too much on our plates. We did eat a lot for this year, 2024. We'll get to him, don't worry. Where was I? Yes, Sonic vs. Shadow Round 1. This was so fun. It reminded me of the bank robbery scene from Sonic 2. I love how the chaos energy is used to help Shadow drive up a building. Akira slide. The two clash. Now I had this scene in Act 3, but no, this was in Act 1, which I could say was Act Fun. Sonic and Shadow both charged up into chaotic energies, clash, causing a blackout. It was so climactic in the trailers that I think we all thought it was going to be in Act 3. Maybe not all of us, but you were thinking it, come on. The clash reminded me of Sonic vs. Knuckles Round 1 in movie 2, and Sonic accidentally causing a blackout in movie 1. We love when a protagonist is challenged. It starts the arc and causes it to bend. When the power comes back on, Knuckles and Tails find Sonic handcuffed to a railing on top of a building. Shadow is gone. The trio decide that they need answers, and the best person to ask is Commander Walters. At a Chow-inspired restaurant, Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails learn about Project Shadow from the captain overseeing the project, Commander Walters. Here is where Shadow's origin story differs from what we generally know from the canon. In this film version, in 1974, 50 years before 2024, a meteorite crash landed in Oklahoma, and Shadow was in that meteorite. His chaos energy went to an unimaginable level, and he was going to be used for a new era of humanity. Unfortunately, something happened and took human lives. The project leader was blamed and apprehended, and Shadow was locked in stasis under Walter's command. In this sequence, you can see how expressive Shadow is. He looks very sad. This is something we never saw a lot in the previous depictions of Shadow. He's always been serious, rarely smiles, and we don't even see him scared that often. Sonic believes that someone must have hacked the system to free Shadow, and it must be someone connected to the project. Just like a roller coaster, we have a flow of happy moments followed by dramatic sad moments. While the Chows are performing a song by the Jackson 5, Sonic sees Eggman's drones, and the drones attack the restaurant. Sonic and crew are able to escape in time, but before the Woodland trio can attack, a motorist jumps in, powering down the drones. He drives off, and our heroes try to follow, until they find something heartbreaking. Commander Walters in a badly wounded state. In fact, he dies. Before he gives his final breath, he gives his keycard to Sonic, telling him to never give it up. Sonic trusts him, and they chase after the motorist. Before I move on, I have to tell you, this is just shocking. The fact we have a first kill on screen, well, not on screen, but we have a first kill, says a lot and sets the tone for this movie. This is serious. No time for games. Yes, we have had our kills in previous zones, such as Longclaw or Knuckles' Tribe, but for some reason this hits me kind of hard because we've seen this character in all three films. Going from recruiting Ivor Robotnik to staging a wedding to trusting Sonic and giving him this very important device. It makes sense to have Walters involved with Project Shadow because it gives him more character, more agency, more weight to his role. Now Walters is gone, and director Rockwell believes that Team Sonic is behind this. Now similar to Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic X, our spiky blue speedster went from hero to target. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails all chase the motorist to a dock, where the motorist is revealed to be Agent Stone. Stone claims that neither he nor Ivo are behind the drone attacks, and lead him down to the Crabmobile, where Ivo is eating a lot since his last defeat from Sonic. I love how his character is just going from like this guy to this guy. Ivo is shocked and angered by the fact that there is an imposter that can hack his technology. If he wants to work with Sonic, Sonic must give him something, his quill. Ivo gets himself ready, and the group goes off exploring in the abandoned gun facility where Project Shadow took place. Unknown to them, Shadow is already there, along with the mysterious professor, the project leader. Here, Shadow remembers his time with Maria, the granddaughter of the professor, and as we soon find out, Ivo's cousin. This was probably the most beautiful moment of this film because we got to see Shadow before that one event. We see him being accepted as someone who's more than just an alien that everyone's afraid of. He is loved by somebody who sees him as a person, as someone who can love and be loved. This is beautiful. Both the thermonuclear gerbil and Professor Joel Robotnik are hell-bent on revenge and avenging Maria's death, Shadow especially. The two Robotniks find each other, and I was curious on how Joel was able to survive after all these years, and after reading some interviews, I found out in some deleted scenes it was Shadow's quill that prolonged the aging process in Gerald. I do love that fourth wall break. It was funny. Gerald also explains his plan to blow up the gun HQ in London using a weapon called the Eclipse Cannon. So during his sentence, Gerald wrote up blueprints as a means of a weapon for the government, only for the weapon to be used in Gerald's interest. Shadow captures Knuckles, Tails, and Stone, with Sonic being the last one. Sonic finds the hangout area and sees a photo of Shadow and Maria. It was so cute. We see Sonic start to understand Shadow a little bit before he is thrown against the desk and sucker punched by Shadow. You can start to see where it got some things wrong. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails wake up to being chained around a pole. They are shocked to see the two Eggmen. Sonic tries to reason with Shadow, but the ultimate life form refuses to listen. Revenge is on his mind. He's been in the stasis for 50 years. This is all he's been thinking about. And it is the only way he can just deal with that pain, is to have exact his revenge on it. Before leaving with the Robotniks, Shadow takes a key card and leaves a little gadget, which turns out to be a black hole on Earth. The trio quickly get out, escaping through a ring portal to just outside the mountain where it's swallowed up. I was really taken by that. I mean, Shadow, this is where you grew up with Maria, and it's just destroyed like that. Tom and Maddie are finally happy to join some alone time from the kids until the team discuss how they're going to get into the HQ in London. Briefly, the Master Emerald is mentioned as a possible option, but Team Sonic quickly turns it down because it must be used in a certain situation that calls for it, not in the means for evil or something else. The whole planning was funny, especially with Tails' voiceover. We head to London, where the second key can be found. This reminds me of the second movie when Sonic and Tails went to get the compass before Knuckles and Ivo did. Similarly, this occurred again in this movie in a more funny, chaotic way. Tom and Maddie disguise themselves as Randall and Rachel. Randall's the gun agent and Rachel's his wife and Maddie's sister. Shadow wants to go in and exact his revenge, but Joel advises against it, telling him to be patient. So Shadow is stuck with Stone, making revenge guacamole. By the way, I'm allergic to avocados. Meanwhile, the Woodland Trio are in position, and Sonic and Knuckles are getting impatient. I didn't get to see too much of this because I was in the bathroom. Just one bathroom break I had, and that's impressive. Anyways, Shadow is a feminist and likes Latinas. Stone assures Shadow that they'll conquer the world, but Shadow corrects him, saying that when they're done, there won't be much to rule. This concerns Stone. Tails hacks their monitors and opens the gates, unleashing a massive amount of water to hit the Crowmobile. Shadow can teleport, but Stone is left in the wreckage, but he survives. He calls Ivo to warn him and try to convince him, but Ivo dismisses him. Rolling back a bit, Sonic, with the last-ditch effort from Tails, enters the gun HQ and tries to get the keycard through a hilarious scene. Tom and Maddie are caught and are almost killed by falling concrete, but Knuckles came in to break glass in case of emergency. Yada yada, Sonic saves the day. Sort of. Director Rockwell grabs the keycard and walks off. Then we see her meet up with Commander Walters, and she's shocked because she just met his dead body. How's he? Oh, it's Tom. He has difficulty with the disguise, and in his disguise, he is caught by Shadow, who punches him and grabs the keycard. There, Tom returns in his original form, unconscious, and Shadow's like, huh? Sonic races in and is angered by the presence of Shadow until he sees Tom. Sonic rushes to Tom, trying to wake him up, and this triggers a memory for Shadow. When Sonic asks what he did, Shadow's like, what I had to, and zoops out. Tom and Maddie are sent to the hospital, and this is where things get serious. Sonic wants revenge. Knuckles advises against the Master Emerald, but Sonic wants it. Tails is just in the middle, trying to defuse the situation. Knuckles finally decides that Sonic should learn for himself, and he must get to that one person who is guarding the emerald, Wade. Now, when I saw this bit, I thought, for some reason, he was talking about Ozzy, the dog. I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense, Wade, because of the whole, 6-episode thing with Wade and Knuckles. The show Knuckles has been a highlight of my year, and it added more motivation fuel for me to finish my thesis. Sonic grabs the emerald and transforms to Super Sonic. Meanwhile, the key cards are used to activate the Ark and is launched into space. I should also note the Ark is also the Eclipse Cannon, so I should be calling it that. Everyone sees this happening, including Stone and Team Sonic. As they head into space, Shadow is having second thoughts, as well as remembering how Sonic was so scared to see an unconscious Tom, much like how Shadow tried to wake up Maria. He asks Gerald if this is what Maria wanted, and Gerald's like, it's not what Maria wants, but it's what they deserve. Shadow then remembers the final moments of Maria. Shadow is listening to Maria playing her guitar when Gerald interrupts them. The government is shutting down Project Shadow and they want the hedgehog. The three of them are running when they are surrounded by soldiers. Here Walters is trying to stop them from shooting because there are children present. Unfortunately, things get worse when a bullet hits one of the containers that has Shadow's chaos energy and explodes. Shadow wakes up to see Gerald by Maria. Shadow rushes her, and without saying anything, he looks at Gerald and gets the answer he doesn't want. He is seething, and in the present, he is charged up and powers up the cannon. Ivo expresses his desire to rule the world, but Gerald says that the cannon's blast is powerful enough to destroy the entire planet, including themselves. I was like, what? Maybe you should have listened to Stone, but whatever, I guess. Ivo tries to persuade Gerald to stop, but Gerald says this, you're no Maria. Shadow and Gerald see something in the distance. Ivo looks at his and they think it's a missile from gun. Ivo looks at Sonic's quill as it goes from neon blue to gold. He's here. In less than a blink, Supersonic bursts through the Eclipse Cannon, taking Shadow with him. Sonic is angry, says, this ends now! And we're like, yeah, get his ass! And Shadow's like, well, nah, you know. You're making the same choices I'm making. And Sonic's like, I'm nothing like you! They crashed somewhere on Earth, someplace pretty volcanic, maybe they're in Hawaii or Indonesia, it doesn't matter. What does matter is when Shadow pushes the emeralds out of Sonic. The two reach for the emeralds, and a jet of light rattles Earth. Supersonic is back, but he's met with a new contender, Super Shadow. I'm gonna refer to my predictions from previous videos. This shot has one simple difference from the trailers. Shadow's color. In the trailer, he was in his original form, but in the movie, he was in super form. This is incredible marketing. Just incredible placement, incredible editing. I love it. Very sneaky, very awesome. We get the most awesome fight scenes ever featured in the trilogy. I'm gonna give some background info about these forms. Sonic the Hedgehog's series was not the first to bring out the whole Chaos Emeralds and Super Form concept. That concept was first brought up by Dragon Ball Z to the Super Saiyan forms. I apologize for mispronouncing. I bring this up because I felt the fight in Sonic 3 was an homage to Dragon Ball Z, and it should come as no surprise that super forms we see in Sonic the Hedgehog were inspired by Dragon Ball Z. Back to the film. The punches were so great that we were being sent to different countries, different continents. As the fight is occurring around Earth, Gerald is figuring out where they are, and while Ivo distracts him and karate chops him in the chest, a reference to the first movie. The robotics are fighting on Earth. Shadow punches Sonic down to someplace in Rome. I forgot the exact area. Shadow is taunting Sonic, mocking him what a big hero he is. When Shadow mentions Tom, that's when Sonic lets him have it, sending the ultimate life form all the way to the moon. Shadow loses his super form and is close to the final blow by Sonic. This is a very startling image. An image of Sonic as angry as about to finish off his rival. Shadow is telling him to do it. Just end this all because by his logic, Sonic won the fight. Shadow then points to his chest, and Sonic remembers something that Tom told him. He didn't let his pain change who he is, especially in his heart. I would also like to reference Longclaw from the second movie when she said that Sonic had a heart like no other creature. In the present, Sonic looks at his fist and says this is not who he is. He lets go of Shadow and sits away from him, his super form disappearing. Shadow's like, hey dude, you won, take the prize. And Sonic responds with, there are no winners but revenge. This film needs to be nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. That touched something in Shadow, and he looks up at the stars and remembering Maria. The two hedgehogs talk about the pain they felt, and when Shadow asks if the pain ever went away, Sonic says no. But what he held on to was the love they shared, and that's what Shadow needs to hold on to. This was one of my favorite moments in the film. Just beautifully written, you could tell this had heart. This wasn't half-assed or written for profit. This was a love letter to the fan. More on that later. Sonic and Shadow decide to team up and prevent the destruction of Earth and life as we know it. They return to their super forms, this time as redeemed heroes on a mission to save Earth. Switch to Joel spanking Ivo like a child. One thing about these films is that you'll never have an uneven balance of drama and comedy. It is everything. Plus, Jim Carrey. He's doing what he loves best. While the two are fighting, Joel sees that the two hedgehogs are heading towards them, so he unleashes the gun robots, which the two spiky boys gladly destroy. By the way, did I mention that Livin' Lauren's playing in the background? Perfect, 10 out of 10, no notes. I love how this one song has been played throughout the entire film. Plus, there's like more music from the video games than I actually thought there would be. While Sonic and Shadow are fighting off the robots, Joel pushes Ivo into space and believes he has won, or so he thinks. Ivo is saved by Knuckles and Tails, and the mad scientist zapped his own grandfather into the chaotic field. Third kill. The hedgehogs arrive in time to stop the laser from hitting Earth, but it takes a lot of effort, especially on Ivo, Tails, and Knuckles, as they try to redirect the laser. Fortunately, it works. It doesn't hit Earth. Oh, shit! Meanwhile, the laser is too much for Sonic to take, and he loses his super form, falling to Earth. Tails makes a last-ditch effort to save his blue friend, as Knuckles throws him into space with the last ring they have. This was incredible, friends saving friends, even after one of their friends betrays them. Shadow speaks to Ivo and learns that the Eclipse Cannon's overloading will soon explode. The two work on stalling the inevitable and keeping it out of Earth's range. We see Shadow taking off his rings. He is using everything in his power to save the world, not only for everyone, but for Maria. Ivo sets up his final live stream, and he dedicates it to Agent Stone, the only person who was loyal to him and a genuine friend. Stone is shocked and doesn't want to lose him again. Shadow and Ivo sacrifice themselves as the Eclipse Cannon explodes. We never see them die, but we assume that. Knuckles comes to the rescue as Tails also falls unconscious and saves the two of them as they are teleported safely to the ground. I see cornfields to be Iowa, Oklahoma, who knows? Sonic apologizes to his friends and they head home, where Tom is alive. I knew we couldn't kill off the Donut Lord. It would be way too dark. I hated that Sonic and Knuckles ate the s'more. The trio race to make up for the first one and they jump off, similar to the intro in Sonic Heroes. The end. This was one of the best movies I've seen this year. It was well worth the wait and I loved every single second I saw of it. I am looking forward to the fourth movie, which will be released in 2027. I'll be 28 when that year comes. I will get into the post-credits scenes after I get into what I love and not love from this film. First off, love the entire film to pieces. It's spectacular. I love the editing, the techniques used. One of the techniques used is parallelism between Shadow and Sonic. The repetition of certain quotes like, I don't know what I would do without you, the act as a setup and payoff for our characters. I love the idea of found family being used. It is one of my favorite tropes, as well as the redeemed villain. In fact, we have two redeemed villains who paid their lives to save our beloved pale blue dot. This film felt like a love letter to us fans, with elements used from Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow was very grounded. We had his backstory in this arc. He didn't feel like an edgy character. We understood him and loved how explored Maria was. She was dressed like a typical tween in the 70s, with roller skates and all. Granted, it wasn't an exact replica of Shadow's origin story as we know, but it still felt sufficient, it still felt enough. We didn't need Maria's illness or the fact Shadow was the creation of Black Jim and Professor Joel and as a cure for Maria. Plus, seeing a child get shot would be too much. It wouldn't be necessary. It's not Maria's death that matters. It is her impact and what she meant to Shadow and to us. The light shines even though the star is gone. Plus, he made Shadow funny and a feminist. Speak to my open palm. I also saw this film as a farewell letter from Jim Carrey in his acting career because he has hinted at retiring. However, things might change and I'll get into that later. Hey, it's Editing Lyss here. Something else I forgot to mention is just this movie does a very great job on dealing with grief and trauma. And it doesn't seem to exploit the fact that we were dealing with like traumatized characters. In fact, we are watching them grow and like take accountability for what they've done and everything. They don't seem to shy away from that fact, and that's what I love about this movie. It takes a different approach on how we deal with grief and trauma. I don't have much to say about what I didn't like about the film. It was done perfectly well. I did see some comments saying how Sonic's comedy undermines the seriousness of certain situations, but that's character. Like, he does that in, like, video games as well. Even, like, Sonic Boom, which is, like, like a sitcom format. His joking is, like, relatable to me. I tend to joke in uncomfortable situations. I'm pretty sure some of y'all do that. Something else I forgot to mention, but it was just something I just found interesting with this film is that, like, in the first film, we learned that Ivo was an orphan, but then he's shocked to find out that he has a grandfather, Gerald, and also a cousin. So I just felt like the whole like Robotnik family tree wasn't like properly like explained. Maybe we'll learn more in the next few films, but just something I always found like wasn't like explored properly. Plus, it is typical for like young adult media to show that, so I don't blame this franchise for doing that. Overall, my 3-act structure predictions were sort of accurate, with the exception of a few scenes, as well as ones I didn't use because I wasn't sure where they would fit. Editing me here again, I forgot to include this in the original script, but like about a week or so before the film's release, I watched a short interview with Ben Schwartz, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in the films, an interview in the podcast, and I'm gonna link that down below. And in that podcast, we can see like something like storyboard visions of the film, and I was looking forward to these, and then I realized that they weren't really used in the film. So I'm guessing like these were like scrapped scenes. I mean, they can only add so much to like an hour and 50 minutes. So I'm gonna link the interview down below, and I'm gonna add the 2 storyboard screenshots I found. I love the fact that they use a clip from the post-credit in the trailer. Sneaky. Now, I will discuss the post-credit scenes. There were 2 I saw from Sonic-related groups I was in. The first one was Sonic racing so far that he ended up in New York. Represent! It's dark, and he's wondering how he can get back home. Behind him, another hedgehog appears. Metal Sonic. He slowly walks up, his gun directed at Sonic, and boom! He misses. Before Sonic is ready to fight, he finds himself surrounded by a horde of Metal Sonics. Something to point out is that Metal Sonic is a blue similar to Sonic, but the rest seem to be gray. As the horde jump to fight Sonic, a flash of bright pink bursts through all the replicas. We get a shot of the moon, which is still badly damaged from the third movie, and a cloaked figure grabs their hammer. They land behind Sonic, destroying a replica. The blast causes Sonic to fall on the ground, and he turns, asks, "Who are you?" The cloaked figure pulls off the hood, and it's Amy Rose! Yes, finally, our girl is here! I am so happy. Call me basic, but I ship Sonic and Amy. Usually it's Amy who's kidnapped or is in trouble and he saves her, but it seems like Amy is saving Sonic now. I'd like to see how this will go. I thought we were going to see more characters in this film, but hey, pacing. When it comes to world building, especially in a series, it's good to breadcrumb it. Leave a trail for the viewers to follow and speculate. Don't give us everything all at once, and I love how the director and writers are doing that. Remember when I thought this was Jim Carrey's final film? Well, it might not be, since he said he was open to being in the 4th film. Plus, I also heard there'll be another Ace Ventura film, but I gotta look more into that. Speaking of more characters to come, there happens to be another credit scene at the very end of the credit roll. we open to a smoking crater, and Shadow's limiter ring is in a wreckage. Then we see his shoes appear, and he reaches down to pick it up. Shadow is alive! We can assume that Shadow may be in Sonic 4, but who knows. Here are my predictions. We have 2 new confirmed characters for the 4th movie. Amy and Metal. My guess is that we'll have another new character, and I'm hoping it's Rouge. I'm watching Season 3 of Sonic X, and Rouge, I do not like you, or your non-diegetic saxophone. My other hope is that Shadow still has his memories back. I'm sorry, but I cannot take another amnesiac Shadow. For Amy, please do not make her two-dimensional. Give her a good backstory and make her more than just love interest. Don't Mary Sue her or Max Pixie Dream Girl her. Make her a well-grounded girl boss. You can make her like Buffy Summers. Give her some quirky humor and comebacks, and still be a badass and make her fashionable. I'm also thinking of Princess Peach from the Super Mario Bros. Movie. She was strong and fashionable, plus she wasn't a damsel in distress. That's so last century. I've been reading excerpts from interviews with the writers, and some were discussing adventures that wouldn't take place on Earth. I'm all for it. We got another 2 years. The 3rd movie is number 1 in America, and the trilogy has amassed over $1 billion in the box office. Go all out, we will be waiting. Another prediction would be Neo Metal Sonic. Now, Metal Sonic is a character I'm least educated on, so forgive me. If Jim Carrey returns for the 4th film, how do we explain his apparent death? I'm going to refer to the games and even the animated short, both concerning Shadow, where he lets the gun soldier escape before the helicopter explodes. So in the moment that the Eclipse Cannon explodes, Shadow and his super form saves Eggman at the last minute. That's one explanation, or one theory. I wonder if Eggman is still hell-bent on defeating Sonic and created Metal Sonic as a weapon against Sonic. Makes sense. From what I've read about Metal Sonic, I saw that he was created by Eggman in a future where Sonic was defeated, so they're trying to make the timeline connect. That's an interesting concept. Something else I thought was how Shadow was played in this movie. Maybe Amy confuses him for Sonic. Maybe we may get a Shadow and Amy moment. We do not know. I don't know if the 4th movie will be able to top the 3rd movie, because that is a magnum opus. I also watch it because I love how the film series is going. By that time, I'll be close to my 30s. 2027 will be 10 years since I graduated high school, and 10 years since I started my undergraduate. Look where I am right now. As for a post-credits cameo in that movie, that's a good one. I want to say Silver, but I also want to say Jet. Maybe you can get to Sonic Riders for a bit. I've seen people guess Team Chaotix, which would make sense. They're a hilarious trio. I love SBO. He reminds me of Shadow, but more sociable version. Plus, if he's in there, SBO has a great sense of humor. Go wild. I wonder when they'll make a Shadow the Hedgehog movie. We deserve that much. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I have more videos coming soon, as well as non-YouTube related projects, such as my 2nd poetry book, Death Row, which will be released later this year. I'll talk more about that project in a later video. Please support me any way you can through my Ko-fi, commissions, affiliate links, yada yada. It's all in my link tree in the description down below. I also have a poetry book called Kaleidoscope, which you can buy on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Blurb. Every little bit counts. And I don't think I mentioned this in my original script, but I usually do in every video I do. But if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, feel free to comment below. I will look at every submission I get and decide if I wanted to talk about it or not. I hope you see my next video. Make sure to hydrate and be safe. Bye!